The second step to developing a social media campaign is to develop a content plan. There's a few simple questions to follow. The first is, what do people want to see? And this is where we do our keyword research so that we can see the types of words that people want. So using the word vacations, we can see the types of vacations that people are looking for. And so now we can determine, well, if we're going to produce content on our site and produce content in social media, let's make sure that the content we produce is aligned with what people want to see. The next question is, when do people want to see it? As we talked about before in the keyword research lessons, it's important to know the trend. You don't want to be talking about vacations in September because that is the least demand month for that term. So it's always good to know when the trend is so that you can be publishing content about that topic before it trends high. So understand the keyword trends and when people want to see the content. Also, ask yourself if there are any annual events in your industry or related to your industry that you can use, such as holidays, industry events, something like that. So, for example, no one talks about Valentine's Day until Valentine's Day and maybe the week or two before. And so plan that on your calendar as content that you can pre-plan, pre-create, and have ready to go when the trend is on you. And then be aware of isolated trends that aren't on the calendar but might come up at any time, such as a news event about specific people, places. A great way to track this is on Hot Trends at Google. Hot Trends lets you know what's trending that day, and you can take advantage of that by understanding that if it's trending that day and you get content on your site about that trend, you might be able to get visitors to your site, especially if you can connect the trend, to your business and help educate people about what they can do to take advantage of that news. Answering those questions and then building a content plan is the key. Organize by month. Figure out what words are trending on which month. Put in the recurring annual content that's going to be appearing throughout the year, whether it's a holiday or an industry trend. Plan the optimal distribution channels. For example, if you're creating something that has a video component on a trend, the best distribution channel is going to be YouTube as well as Facebook. Now, you can also use Twitter to tweet a link to the YouTube link, but plan it out. Make sure that when you create this content plan, it's also a checklist of all available places that you can publish this content. Think like a publisher. What a publisher does is they introduce the content. If you've ever gone into a store around mid-October, it's very interesting because not only do they have Halloween things, they also have Christmas items. They're thinking like a publisher. They're thinking ahead of the trend. And so a good way to think about content is if you know it's going to trend in December, you prepare in October. And then you develop the content. You create conversation with your content during the trend as it's increasing and as it gets to the top of the trend. And then you close it. You close the topic when the trend is over. You can close it by asking people on Facebook, how did you celebrate this? How did you respond to this? And you can learn from that, and you can also engage people when the trend is over. Don't try and publish an article about a trend when it's already done. No one's going to be searching for it. And so you need to think like a publisher online by getting your information out there and understanding how people are going to interact with it based on the trend. So get ready, get set, plan your content, and plan how you're going to distribute it. Now, be flexible. You've got to plan and you've got to mark down when all these things are happening, but be flexible. Be willing to change. Be willing to understand that There are things that are going to happen, maybe day to day, that some news topics are going to dominate, and it may have to precede the content you have scheduled. Educate yourself about the market. What's important? What are the primary dates? What's coming that you need to watch out for? And then combine the planning with your resources, and you will have success. A lack of planning will kill a campaign. There will be no direction, there will be confusion, and there's no way to hold anyone accountable when there is no plan.